time.
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama, touchdown.
And everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. I'm Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy this morning. We'll be with you until 9 o'clock, fielding your phone calls, 256-234-6221. High school football season right around the corner, college football right around the corner, Scott. It's a little bit of a downtime, I would say, from a media standpoint, because really all we're doing is talking heads, giving what we're seeing out there. But I don't know if you noticed last night, already some high school football getting started. I think it gets started earlier and earlier, not necessarily here in the state of Alabama, but across the country. And it's more of a regional country feel, overall country feel when it comes to high school football than it ever was when myself or you were raised. And so it's a little bit of a different time, but I enjoy it. I do enjoy watching high school football a lot on television.
Yeah, and I mean, it gives people an opportunity to kind of see what other states are doing or some of the high-profile recruits that you see on a day-to-day basis. But for the South specifically, I don't think they care who's playing, especially this time of year when you've had that gap between the end of the Super Bowl and you get a little bit with spring training or spring practice, and then you get ready for fall camp. So it's an exciting time, especially for our service area. I think our coverage area has some teams that should be highly competitive, and then as it relates to college football, we already know what the expectation is for Alabama and what we're seeing, hopefully, from the little bit we've seen this week. Auburn seems to have a lot of momentum and excitement, especially from the offensive side. So it's an exciting time as we prepare for fall football.
Well, a lot of new names to talk about, and, that's the thing I've always enjoyed talking about on the high school side, because a lot of kids will pop up and I'll have no earthly idea who they are. I really haven't heard of them. They'll come over from the middle school. Some will hit a major growth spurt, and the next thing you know, they're like a key piece to your team. And that's always been a fun part of sports for me. I can remember one, and I'll throw this out there just because people in our local community will know this, but my senior year in high school, we had a 10th grader come up, and I had never heard of him, and he was in my brother's class. And the first week that we went out to practice, Scotty Vines was over at receiver with us, and I said, who? And I knew his sister. His sister was one of the best athletes in school, and I said, I guess that's Coach's brother over there. And the next thing I know, he's playing big-time college basketball, playing big-time football, making it to the NFL, and one of the best athletes our community's ever produced. But that being said, 7th, 8th grade, and tell me if I'm wrong, I don't remember him being talked about ever. And I think that is the beauty of sports. You get caught up with youth athletics. I'm kind of knee-deep in it with my kids right now, thinking that what you are as an 11-year-old is what you're going to be. And, Scott, for the most part, that is not reality at all, because until you really hit puberty, hit that growth spurt in a lot of sports, you can't necessarily see where the ceiling is on some of these kids. And that's a fun part of sports for me. I'm entering my 20th year of broadcasting high school football here in Ellick City. And I can't tell you how many times a Nicole Maxwell's popped up, and I said, who is that? And it'll be just on like a kickoff coverage team or a punt coverage team. And he'll be a 10th grader, and you'll go, I don't know who that is, but all I know is I'm going to say his name a lot over the next 2 or 3 years. And we've had so many like that, but I think that's the beauty of sports, Scott.
Yeah, and when you talk about those types of stories, my first reaction always is Michael Goggins. We graduated together, and in middle school, even maybe freshman year, even going maybe in the 10th grade, he was not a starter. He was a tight end, but there was a guy in front of him that if you were to look at it now, there's like, how in the world was that ever possible? But Mike hadn't hit his growth spurt yet, and between his basically 10th and 11th grade year, he gained about 30 pounds and was about 3 inches taller, and then became a high-profile recruit. So it isn't necessarily like it's funny you say that about the 11-year-old. Like, I was having this conversation earlier this week, and I was like, man, I hope I'm not a crazy person. And it's like, if he can't swing a bat at 7 or he can't make a free throw at 6, is it going to be the end of the world? You know, there's a lot of time for all that. But high school athletics provides that opportunity, and I think that's what makes it so great.
It's going to be a very fun couple of weeks as we head into high school football season. August the 23rd will be a big date for us here in Alexander City, also for Opelika, as we will renew an old-time rivalry with Opelika coming to Alexander City to play Benjamin Russell. We have played a decent amount, I would say an average of 3 or 4 times a year over the last 10, maybe have played 7 or 8 times in the last 20 years. But when I was coming through school, it was every year, and it was built up as the biggest week and the biggest game on our calendar, and that was including Dayville, that was including any area games that we had. And I think the reason was we knew that we matched up well with them. They were going to give us a great game year in and year out, and we were probably going to do the same with them. So you kind of weigh where you stood when you played Opelika. And I've even said it to some Opelika broadcasters and media in the last couple of weeks. There's not a team in the world that I would rather not lose to more than Opelika. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that I think they have one of the, if not the best, high school football communities when it's going well that I see out there. They've got a lot of tradition. They've got a lot of buy-in. There's just a feel around that place that you can tell when you're talking to somebody and they've got red and black on that they love it. They really love the sport. And, Scott, when you're competing against teams like that, I don't care what sport it is, it just takes everything to the next level because you know that your passion's got to at least meet or exceed what they're doing, and that's always been a beauty with that one. So I'm looking forward to it. I know they've got a really good team. I can have conversations with coaches at this point and tell when they know they're pretty good and when they know they're not. Brett used to laugh about Danny Horn with this. Danny would always give you this little pitiful us story, but a couple of years in there, he'd look at Brett and go, you know, we're going to be pretty good. And when he said that, you knew that they're going to be really, really good. So I can get a feel from Opelika right now. I think they know they're pretty talented. And they got 38 seniors on that squad, which is a massive, massive number. So it's going to be a great first game. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and, you know, from a personal standpoint, the rivalry between Benjamin Russell and Opelika really is what created my affinity for high school athletics, just going to those games when I was younger and seeing the Sportplex packed out all up on the hill, or going to Opelika and seeing Shundell make just a world-class hit. So, I mean, this is what high school football is, high school athletics in general, but two communities who are very community-oriented, and they love their sports. And the thing is, too, when they're larger but not really in terms of a feel. So they're a community where a lot of those people come back, and so they're supportive of the program, even if they don't have people playing it anymore. It means something to them. So
including ours.
Yeah,
which
and that's
makes
what I'm
it
saying.
great.
I think that when you're a community our size, you have a lot of buy-in, and I think that's what really creates the type of positive momentum and engagement you need. And the players respond to that. The coaches understand the importance of it. And, again, I think that this is a prime time to bring back the matchup. And from a competitive standpoint, this is that time of the year too where everybody kind of feels good about their team. You hadn't had a chance to be seen on film, and you hadn't had, your win-loss record is what it is. Everybody's the same. And so been having some conversations with a couple players on the team, and they feel a little bit better about where things are going. I had a great showing this summer, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun this fall.
I'm getting older, and I'm looking at as I look into that camera right there. But I say this every time we play Opelika because I went back, and AHSFHS.org is the best place to go, for one. If you like football history, if you think you know something about your community and you want to check on it, or I'll have people hit me up and say, check and see what that score was back in this game whenever I was playing, and then you'll go check, and they'll have something in their mind that's totally off from what it actually was, or players. That is Alabama High School Football Historical Society.org. It is the best link that you can possibly go to get everything that you want history-wise from high school football here in the state, including basketball and other sports as well that they've added to their database. But between 90 and 2000, we played 11 times. Opelika won 6, we won 5. The point discrepancy in those 11 games was 167 to 166. So when you ask people of my generation why that game's so important, that's why it was so important. It was important because you lost games on field goals. You lost games because you fumbled the football inside the 1 yard line going in to win the ball game, which is actually the year after I left. As Opelika, you lost games coming into the 9th week of the season at 8-0, ranked number 3 in the state, at Ellick City, to a team for us that goes on and plays for a state championship in '97. You lost a game that was really close when you were going down inside the 10-yard line, throwing the ball into the end zone to try to win it and have the ball knocked away. You lost big games like that, and you remember all of those. So there are a lot of other communities out there that have rivalries like that as well. I had a talk at a ribbon cutting over in Auburn this week with a friend of mine. He lived in Vestavia for a while, and he said, Randy, I don't think you grasp how much Vestavia and Hoover dislike each other when it comes to athletics. I think maybe you know, but you don't know. We don't like each other. And we were talking about the kickoff classic that will have Carver and Vestavia playing one another, and maybe we'll talk about that here in the next couple of segments on some of the games that we'll see coming up. But there's great rivalries. And it sure is tough to get up week in and week out when you don't have those to look forward to, Scott.
Yeah, and I think that's the luxury of the teams we cover is that there are a lot of built-in rivalries, Reeltown Dayville or Lafette Lynette, Benja Russell Opelika, Benja Russell Clay Central. So, I think that when you see that on the schedule, it does give you some momentum. And, a lot of the times these are really good teams, so it's preparing you, regardless of classification, it's preparing you for later down the road. So, again, we've hit that point where we're a couple of weeks away from the season, and I think everybody's ready for it.
256-234-6221 is our phone number. If you've got comments, if you've got rivalries out there that you're looking forward to this year, talk about ones that you played in that were important to you. We're going to talk about that this first hour of the show as we get into August with football games coming up. I think August the 22nd we'll have the first kickoff classic game. It'll be against 2 of the very best schools in the state of Alabama historically when it comes to high school football, T.R. Miller and Reeltown, playing on Thursday night. And then Friday, we just mentioned the game that we'll be covering, Scott, but we'll also, for the AHSAA radio network, have a great game going on with Carver of Montgomery, who has absorbed Sidney Lanier now. So Carver is now a 7A school, and they'll be taking on a very good Vestavia program that is really on the rise, I think. Vestavia's not gotten all the way there, hasn't made a state championship game just yet due to that region that they've got to go through. But, Scott, they've given Thompson and Hoover and other teams all they've wanted a couple of times over the last few years. So that'll be a great matchup, and we'll talk a lot about that one on the other side.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep this in mind. Don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life. Red Flag Pest Control is Central Alabama's best in pest control with hometown service in Lake Martin and now the greater Montgomery area. When you see pests, throw down the red flag. Termites, bed bugs, carpenter bees, mosquitoes, or general pests. Red Flag gets the job done at the right price for your home or business. At Lake Martin, call 888-943-0353 or in Montgomery, 334-265-1831. Red Flag, the best in pest control in Central Alabama.
Hello, I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. A couple of segments into the program this morning. High school football right around the corner. Scott, we just kind of brought up the kickoff classic, and let's talk about that. It started off Champions Challenge when we first took over the AHSAA radio network contract, and we have had crews over there to call each of those games. If memory serves me correct, the first year was either 2007 or 2008. For the kickoff or for the Champions Challenge. And the original premise, AL.com was the sponsor, was you would try to match up teams that you wish you could have seen play the year before. And it didn't necessarily have to be in the same classification. So I'll bring up one the first year that I called high school football, so you'll know this is one of your last years in school. But Homewood went 15-0 and won state championship in 5A. Hoover went 15-0 and won the state championship in 6A that year. And everyone it was one of Homewood's very best teams. Tim Hawthorne was receiver. 2005. They had a really, really good offensive line. They had an offensive tackle that was going to Alabama. They had a great quarterback that was a multi-sport guy. Sorry if I'm, forgetting the names of some of these guys, but
Freeman was the running back.
They were a great football team. We played them in the semifinals that year. We got beat worse than I can remember ever getting beat in the regular season, and then probably the proudest I've ever been still 20 years later. I've had a few that have been semi-equal to it over my 20 years at Benjamin Russell, but one of the proudest moments I've ever broadcasted is us on the road in the semifinals against Homewood that year. We gave them everything they wanted and lost by 7 points to who many considered one of the best 5A teams to ever be put out there. Go look at their score discrepancies. It was unbelievable. But, a lot of people want to see those two teams match up. So I think the initial thought process was, okay, if Reeltown wins 2A going away and T.R. Miller wins 3A going away, and we didn't get an opportunity to see them the year before, we'd like to maybe put a Champions Challenge together where you will come in and play that way. And all of that worked out for the first 10 years or so. But, we're no different than a lot of schools around, or a lot of states around. A lot of times it's the same schools playing for championships. So if you're only going to pit champions against one another, you're not going to get a wide variety of teams to come in. So change it up a little bit, kickoff classic, try to pit two great programs that maybe are on the rise is what I've seen recently that would appreciate the opportunity to come over there. Coach Horn took a very good Benjamin Russell team over there to play Walker County. Around 2012 or so, 2011, 2012, and had a great team that year and won that game. So, and we were on the rise, and we knew it. I think Reeltown's not on the rise. Real-town's there.
Yeah.
T.R. Miller is back on the rise. They've still been there, but I think T.R. Miller's getting closer to being where T.R. Miller was in the 90s. At least I get that feel, that they're going to be playing for championships in the years to come. And then Vestavia is definitely – Vestavia, man, they hit a lull. They hit, you know, a little downswing that I don't know many of us expected that grew up of our generation, but they did. But I feel like they're back on the rise. And Carver Montgomery is one that I'm going to kick it over to you and we'll talk about. But Bobby Carr takes over at Carver. They have now taken on some great talent at Sidney Lanier. Lanier won 6 football games last year, made it to the playoffs. So Carver absorbed them. Carver also goes out. Bobby Carr goes out, goes down to IMG, picks up Anthony Rogers. Turbo, who is committed to Alabama at running back, was at Pike Road before. One of the best highlight reel athletes in high school football. They go and grab him to add him to Carver with this mix. That's a great, great matchup there in Class 7A to start things off.
Yeah, and I think that you have kind of opposing styles, too, of how they play a little bit. And you know, but I think Vestavia, we were talking about it in the last segment, really has been on the verge, but it's so tough for them. You may look at their record and they may be 6-4 or 7-3, but they've lost to, or even 8-2, but they've lost to the teams that are either going to be in the state championship game or playing for the semis. So, and in Carver's regard, I'm really interested to see what happens with Bobby Carr. Had great success on the private school level, and I'm interested to see how it translates on this side. But when you have the type of talent that we assume and for the most part know that they have, that's going to be a really great matchup and kind of sets the tone for the kickoff of the season.
Well, Scott, this is travel ball age. 7-on-7 tournaments also. I mean, these kids play with one another, whether it be in basketball, baseball. And I'm bringing up something here. It's been a big topic of conversation, transfers. And is it recruiting? And NIL dollars, which is a totally different discussion to me. But transferring around. Some coaches you find your way to. I'm of the opinion now I grew up in Ellick City. I still broadcast Ellick City and love this place. I mean, I love maroon. You love maroon. I'll go to my grave probably with somebody sticking some maroon on me somewhere. I mean, that's the reality of it. But we don't really have an opportunity to go in surrounding communities too often. But if I did live somewhere, I'd want to build a program that people wanted to gravitate to, wouldn't you? I mean, I heard a lot of media day junkets talking down in Mobile this past week, and I've heard Mark Freeman talk about it. You know, Thompson was not Thompson before Mark Freeman. Go look at their record. They were in the pits of where you would not want to be in that region over there in Alabaster, competing against those juggernauts that they were. But now, kids find their way to great programs and programs that got a buzz about them and programs that promote their kids and get their kids to the next level and all of those things that you hope to do. And so I'm intrigued by Montgomery too, because here's what's happened in Montgomery for far too long. Some of your best players, Carver, and you and I know this, let's don't be politically correct up here. Some of your best players over in Montgomery end up on some of these private school teams. And you can say how and why does that happen? I think all of us have our own reasoning for why that's happened over the years, and it's happened. Go look at championship runs in Montgomery and some of these lower classifications. They're in it every year. Trinity, St. James, Montgomery Catholic. Well, name them, Scott. I mean, we see them every year. And they've got a mix of all. Go look at Montgomery Catholic squad this past year. I mean, they had 8 or 10 guys that anybody in the state, including 7A, would have liked to have had athletically on that. It's intriguing to me to watch Bobby Carr, who has always been known for finding kids and getting kids into his program that can win ball games, to see what he can do in that community. I think that brings a dynamic to public school ball in Montgomery that maybe we haven't had in quite some time.
And it's needed. And I think that it only will help. I actually think the consolidation probably is the best. It probably needs to happen in a couple other areas too within the system. But saying that, I think they're going to be good. Not that Carver hasn't been, but I really think that they're going to be competing for
championship caliber.
Yeah, I think that the talent level is there, but if they have some success and you bring somebody who understands what it is to build a program, I think it's inevitable that if he gets the players, they're not going to be great. And the thing is, when we're talking about the private school aspect, even though they are having to play up for the competitive advantage and all that, like you're 3 and 4A, and you're talking about the 8 to 10. If they would be on a 6 or 7A squad team, that lets you know. Not saying that 3A ball and 4A ball ain't good. I think 3A is one of the more competitive classifications. But if you are consolidated all this talent into 2 or 3 schools, then they're probably going to have a good opportunity to compete, especially when they could be competing against some 5 and 6A schools and really put on a show. So I think it's going to be very successful for Carver and the surrounding Montgomery.
I think it's that's the reason I think that this matchup's going to be intriguing to me, and one that I have no problem sitting up here selling. Vestavia has buy-in. They have a winning tradition. They've got a coach that was an all-state player and won a state championship and was the MVP of the state of the Super Six the year that they won it last. He knows what it is to build community around that football program, and they're that close. They are. They're that close. They lost Thompson 2 years ago in the second round of the playoffs, where if they don't turn the football over a couple of times in the second half, they win that football game at Thompson. I thought it's hard to say they had the better team, but you were watching that game that night, and I'm like, if they don't mess this up, they're going to win. So that's how close they are. So I think –
too, like from the other side of this too, on the Montgomery side, it impacts somebody like a Pike Road too, who maybe was getting some of those players, and now if the public school system athletics in Montgomery is elevating and being what it used to be, then I think you keep a lot of that talent too. So that impacts some of the other schools around you too.
Watch Prattville. When it died, when Montgomery's public school system, when there was flight, Prattville got it, buddy. And they had the right pieces in place, and they had the right buy-in, and they had the right coach and Bill Clark to build it. And they didn't lose ball games for a long period of time. And I'm not saying all those weren't Prattville guys, but I know enough to know that they were getting their fair share of good athletes running out of Montgomery at that point in time. So, look, it's a great market. It's a great opportunity over there. And so I think that Friday night game with Vestavia and Carver is going to be a great one. We'll go ahead and take another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Hillary Towers may very well be the Lake Martin area's best kept secret. An affordable senior citizens community located on Highway 22 East in Alexander City. Spacious one-bedroom units are currently available. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today for more information on the newly renovated Hillary Towers, 256-329-0552. 256-329-0552. Hillary Towers, 22 East, Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need. With top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill. And our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you. Central to your success.
At Team One Hyundai, it's the Summer Savings Sales Event. All new Hyundais will be sold at employee pricing, plus an unheard of $1,000 bonus for your trade-in. See our huge selection of new and pre-owned inventory at team1hyundai.com. Don't miss the summer savings with employee pricing plus a $1,000 bonus for your trade. Team One Hyundai of Gadsden, where the experience exceeds your expectations.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Got about an hour and a half left in the program this morning. We'll go already starting off with a good friend of ours, Luke Robinson, on the phone with us. Luke, glad to have you.
Glad to be here. I had to call in a little early this morning. I got something to do at 8, but one of the things I'm going to do at 8 is actually do a podcast with my buddy Zach Blackerby from Locked on Auburn, because one of the things we wanted to talk about was sort of what you're talking about in a way. The importance of in-state recruiting and the importance of dominating the state. And I just found it kind of interesting because, you know, obviously Auburn is certainly doing really, really well in the state of Alabama this year, and they started off really well for next year. Alabama has pretty much dominated the state. I mean, I guess looking back, it wasn't quite as thorough as I thought it was. In 08, they certainly did. But just came up with some interesting points, because I think that it's interesting that we all, as part of the AHSAA radio network and seeing these kids all the time, we certainly want to dominate the state, I mean, for our respective teams. And we want to see these players go on and achieve great things. And a lot of times they do, but sometimes they do it at other places. And also sometimes that it never really comes to fruition. One thing that, Randy, you and I have talked about a bunch is how important Thompson High School is. And it's the most dominant program in the state on the highest level. I know they didn't win it last year, but they're right there in it every single year, if not winning it. I think they had, 5 in a row? Is that right?
4, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they played for 6 in a row. I think they lost on the front end of that and on the back end of that.
Correct.
Isn't that the way it is?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Well, just in getting ready to talk to Zach about this, I mean, I looked up, and this is according to On3, I looked up the highest rated players that have come out of Thompson really ever. Now, this doesn't obviously go back into the 80s or even mid-90s, but it's for the modern day. Number 1 player was Jeremiah Alexander, who's at Alabama right now, and he's pretty good. He hadn't really done a lot yet. Number 2 is Peter Woods, who was a good player for Clemson last year. I wouldn't say that he was, all ACC, but he certainly looks like he's going to be pretty good. Amari Kite, who went to Alabama and has since transferred to UCF. It never blossomed in Tuscaloosa. Anquan Fagan, who just committed to Auburn, so there's no sense in putting him in this. Tony Mitchell, who, flirted with Alabama and Auburn, ended up signing with Bama, got in some trouble, and now he's left Alabama. So I'm not even sure where he is right now. Traquan Fagan's, Anquan's brother, has been to Alabama, USC, and now I think UCF. Tony Bell back in 04, but that doesn't really count for me in this modern era. Talia Tagovailoa, who started at Bama, went to Maryland and did pretty well. I mean, he was good at Maryland. Stanton Ramel, who I don't think we know enough about yet at Michigan State. My point in all this, and I don't want to go through all of them, is, boy, when I think about Thompson, and I'm just picking them out of the air because they are the most dominant program. This has nothing to do with me, like, trying to single them out. When I think about Thompson and all the players they've had and all the success, you would think that everybody they've had has automatically gone on to just be a superstar, and frankly, it hadn't happened.
Here's I'm going to go ahead and feed you in on probably what Zach's going to say a little bit later as an Auburn fan that is hoping that we're finding some sea legs here in the state, Luke. What is your thoughts on DeBoer and how good of a job that he's doing immersing himself into the high school football ranks here in the state of Alabama? Are you hearing anything? You know, I look at Alabama's recruiting class, and I'll tell you what I see. I see 5 or 6 guys from California. I know DeBoer's coming over from a West Coast team that he took to a national championship this past year. Can Alabama consistently go out there and recruit like that? Maybe so. I don't know. But I would be a little bit skeptical in saying that this is going to be a year in and year out process where Alabama is going to be able to recruit the nation the way that they are right now. Maybe I'm wrong. As an Auburn fan, I'm hopeful that Hugh Freeze is building some more relationships in this state that we haven't had built in a long time. I mean, we just had a coach that I'm not sure ever graced the football field at Thompson High School while he was there, in Brian Harsin. So that's where we're semi-hopeful as Auburn fans, Luke. Your thoughts on DeBoer and his efforts here in the state so far?
I think they've been fine. And he got 2 commitments from 2027 guys. We know what those commitments are worth. I mean, we've already seen one guy in the state this year commit 4 times and flip 3, and I wouldn't be surprised if he flipped again or another time after that. So I mean, we're just in a new era where, 10 years ago we were talking about, does a commitment mean anything anymore? And now, I mean, the times now make that 10 years ago look like those guys were locked in. So I think he's doing fine, though. He got 2 27 commitments, Barack Willis and Guerrer from Viger, 2 really good players that is 9th graders, really stood out. But again, it's 2.5 years before they can even sign. Now, some things may change between now and then. I mean, rules are changing almost every single day, so who knows what's going to happen. But here's the other thing. Those kids could also change high schools. So while I'm with you, and I hear what you're saying, and I love, I'm not trying to say recruiting the state of Alabama is unimportant. I want everybody to be clear. I said that I was on Doug Amos's show Wednesday, and in the middle of talking about a lot of this, and that's what sort of started this whole idea. Some Auburn fan texted the host and said, hey, this Auburn fan said, oh, well, now recruiting the state isn't important, is it? Shaking my head. And I said, I didn't say that at all. I said it's very important. I think it is important. At the same time, the net is wider now. So when you used to dominate the state, back in the Pat Dye days or Bear Bryant days or, even Ray Perkins and Gene Stallings, you couldn't go out and make up for it by getting a guy in Nevada or Minnesota. You just didn't do it that often. When you got somebody from Minnesota, it was like, why are you even flying up there? It's too big of a deal. Well, times are different now. So when Alabama goes to California, and as you mentioned, they get a few guys from California, well, it just so happens to be that those guys from California are some of the best players in the country. I mean, those are some of Alabama's 5 stars. And so is Alabama supposed to turn those guys down for guys that are closer to home? I don't think so. And do I think Alabama can keep doing that? Look, I'd be willing to bet that any college football metric system that you can put out there that are analytical style, whatever you want to call it, would say Alabama is one of the top 2 or 3 brands in the whole sport, if not the top brand right now. So, yeah, I think Alabama can continue it. I don't see any reason why they couldn't. Their facilities are as good as anybody's in the country, and the passion is there, and they invest in the resources. So I certainly think they could do it. I mean, Alabama's doing a fantastic job, even without football, without sports, of recruiting students nationally. They're doing that more nationally than, say, Auburn is. And there's a plus and a minus to it. My point is, it's not just a definitive plant your flag, like, oh, we own the state, and so you didn't get anybody anymore. It used to be if Pat Dye got everybody in the state of Alabama that everybody really wanted that was considered a good player, you knew Alabama's class was going to stink. Well, Auburn's getting everybody in the state they want this year, and Alabama's class is number 2 in the country. So that's my point. Things have changed completely.
And, Luke, you brought up brand, and that's kind of where I was going to go was I think that and Saban obviously was a major catalyst for that in terms of students and student athletes. But I don't actually think I like seeing the wide net. I would love to. I mean, I want Auburn to dominate Alabama and get your Georgias and Louisianas and Floridas, but if you're getting guys from California or Texas or, wherever that's not in the state necessarily, I think that bodes better for you in terms of what your brand is, the perception of what you are nationally. And there are probably some people who wouldn't like this, but generally speaking, a kid in, we're going to say, L.A. probably isn't as familiar with Auburn as they are with Alabama. And so while everything has kind of shifted from a money standpoint, and that is probably the generating factor for a lot of people and where they choose to go to school. But just off the top, I mean, you very rarely see somebody say Alabama University. Like you may see recruits say University of Auburn, and I know that rubs people the wrong way. But just from a branding standpoint, I think it shows where Alabama is in comparison to Auburn.
Yeah, and I know, look, as far as the Alabama-Auburn side of it, like just us versus y'all, I think Alabama and Auburn are closer than Alabama fans want to admit. From a national standpoint, when, like you said, somebody in California looks at it, Alabama's historically the number 1 or number 2 program in college football history, and Auburn's around somewhere between 14 to 18. And that's no knock on Auburn. That's not some Bammer saying that. Pull up anything you want to, number of wins, winning percentage, number of championships, number of people in the NFL. Do you know Alabama had 9 guys on the NFL's list of top 100 players in the league? That's almost 1/10. And one of them, Quinnen Williams, was from the state of Alabama. Now, you can say that doesn't mean anything or whatever you want to. If I put enough statistics up there, people will understand what I'm trying to say. It is not derogatory towards Auburn at all. Auburn's done a heck of a job considering what they're surrounded by, and they should be thrilled and proud of it.
Luke, last question for you. I know we're up against a break, but I want to get this last one in. Number 1 prospect in high school basketball coming out, had both Auburn and Alabama listed as one of or 2 of his top 5. What a time to be a college basketball fan here in this state.
Yeah, A.J. Dibanasta, I believe is how you say it. He's incredible. What's going to be weird, Randy, I don't know how much you follow it. I've been following it a lot. I usually don't follow the number 1 prospect in basketball that much, but I have been this guy. You know where everybody's predicting him to end up?
Where's that?
BYU.
How is that?
I think he might be transferring out to Utah. I think that there is some kind of connection there.
Got it.
That I don't know. And it doesn't matter because he's going to be there for 15 minutes. So I guess, and frankly, it's probably an NIL deal too. And Randy, I'm super thrilled about that. Let me tell you one thing I hate. Caleb Holt, who's the best prospect in this state, maybe the number 4 player in the country, who we've seen several times and love, has transferred to Georgia. So we don't get to see him this year. I certainly don't like that. And I know you're up against a break, Randy. We're going to burn through it because I got to tell you one other thing that
Good. We're in no rush to get the break. We'll catch up with them back there in the control room.
Hey, one trick Andy and I've learned is occasionally if you blow through some breaks, you can catch up on the back end, and you may get to go home and go to bed a little earlier. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm going to pull up the 2021 State of Alabama football recruits, okay? Because I think that's a good sample. I mean, if you want to use something like 22 or 23, you could make the argument, hey, they hadn't been there long enough to make their marks, so you don't really know what you got yet. But if you pull up 2021, and the one thing that I was going to argue against myself was, hey, if you do recruit more state guys, maybe there's less of a chance they transfer if they get rubbed the wrong way or if things aren't going their way initially. Maybe they'll stick it out more because they're closer to home. And let me just run these down for you. Number 1 was Kool-Aid McKinstry, bona fide 5-star, first-round pick. Things couldn't be better for him. Deontay Lawson, going to be an All-American, going to be at Alabama again, no doubt a leader, will probably be a first- or second-round pick in the draft. So those 2 are bona fide winners, bona fide big-time guys from the state of Alabama. But then here's the rest of your list. Number 3 was Dylan Brooks. Do we know where he is right now? Do you know where he is right now?
Kansas.
at Kansas. He's already transferred. So there goes my transfer thoughts are about to go out the window. Scooby Williams from Ramsey. He signed with Florida. You know where he is? Texas A&M. Lee Hunter signed with Auburn. He is transferred. Do you know where he is?
No clue.
Central Florida. Armani Goodwin signed with LSU. Transferred. Do you know where he is?
No clue.
UAB. Now, you get to Kamari Lassiter. He signed with Georgia, and you say, well, boy, there's a guy that's in state that Alabama and Auburn should have held on to. He's from Georgia originally, loved Georgia. He just his circumstances made him move to Alabama, so I'm not even sure you can count him. I mean, you can, but you can make an argument not to. Ian Jackson, a linebacker, signed with Alabama, now at UTSA. My point is, I'm looking over this entire list now, and yeah, the ones that you hit home runs with are awesome, but they're fewer and far between than the guys you think you hit a home run with, and next thing you know, even though they're from your same state and they love you think they grew up loving Auburn or loving Alabama, they transfer. So that just feeds into my, hey, it's such a new dawn that saying you win the state doesn't mean what it used to mean. That's all I'm saying.
Luke, where are y'all? What time? You coming on at 8 o'clock, and I'm sure it'll be posted to YouTube as well, won't it?
Yeah, we're going to do this at 8 o'clock, I hope, and we'll just probably put it out right after that on Locked On Bama and on Locked On Auburn.
Locked On Bama's really growing, so find Luke Robinson, YouTube, and all the other social media outlets. Luke, we appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, I'll tell you one place. Zach Blacker being Locked On Auburn do dominate the state. They got 17,000 subscribers. So I was so proud to get to 11,000, I didn't know what to do. And I looked at him, and I said, well, dang, I should have kept my mouth shut.
Well, it'll be a good program, and we appreciate you starting with us, though, Luke.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thank you, buddy. Go ahead and take another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is coming soon to the corner of 280 and 49 North in Dadeville. This new 10,000 square foot facility is conveniently located to serve the residents of the Lake Martin area and its many communities. A branch of Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory in Opelika, Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation looks forward to serving your families and your communities, as we have since 1900 at Frederick Dean. 256-750-0381.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at bamasheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. You know, Luke kind of brought it up, and we've semi-brought it up, but, you know, there's so many dynamics in high school and college football that we didn't have not long ago. I mean, if I'd have brought it up 2 or 3 years ago that we were going to have to determine how you can openly pay high school players to keep them in the state of Alabama, you'd go, I mean, really? NIL's already going to creep into the high school ranks, and yes, it has. You know, our top rated recruit maybe in the history of high school basketball for the state of Alabama. Somebody argue with me. Caleb Holt's a top 5 guy. Have we ever had a top 5 guy? I mean, was Buck Johnson or any of those guys top 5 guys? If they were, I don't know. I mean, of course, Barkley and Person, none of them were. So Alabama would have to be the team that picked up maybe a top 5 guy in that. But Caleb Holt's top 5 guy. He's been on 2 USA teams that have won gold medals, and I think the under-18 squad that he's already been a part of. I think he's as good as I've seen, and I've seen a bunch of them over the last 20 years calling championship games. So I think I've seen most of the best over that stretch, and he's got the best feel. He's got the best look for it. Already winning 2 state championships and being a finals MVP twice. So he's a great player, but he's going over to Georgia. It's just a dynamic that I don't think any of us would have thought of not long ago, Scott.
No, and I mean, it really makes me think about people like a Gerald Wallace, for example, who would just have a gym full and would put on a show like what his endorsement deals could have been, or not necessarily endorsement, but like what type of money could he have gotten, or would have school have said, hey, you can come over here to Georgia or whatever. Like, I mean, we've seen some of those. So for somebody like Holt, like Luke said, obviously you want him to stay so you get to watch him, but that's the reality of where we are right now, is that kids are choosing the best option financially for them, and then secondary is where can I get the most exposure, and so they kind of go hand in hand. If you're getting exposure, you go probably get the money, and if you got the money, that means you're getting exposure. So it's a weird time to be a fan of athletics on the amateur side, but I think we're pretty much done with calling it amateur sports, and it's a business. And so if it's a business, then whatever decisions have to be made that make the most sense from a financial and business standpoint, then, you know, I'm okay with it. I'm going to just quit fighting it, and I'm going to just go wherever the train goes. I'll just keep riding
I say that to you politically all the time. You know, I really do. I mean, when you get old enough to realize, just tell me whatever rules you want me to play in over the next 4 years, or whatever rules you want to decide, and let me see if I'm going to be competitive enough to be out there and play under those rules. And I think high school sports has become that. And, you know, the programs that are saying, look, I've got to build a brand, and I've got to be a place that when you're looking around and deciding where you want to go, that I know little Scotty has a great opportunity if I put him in that system right there to get as much out of him as he can, and he's going to be led by somebody that I want leading. And, you know, those are things that parents, especially in bigger communities, that's what they're thinking. I mean, you're living in Mobile. You got a lot of great choices down there. You go to Saraland, you want to go to Spanish Fort. I know those are right on top of each other. 2 of the best programs. Or do you want to go to St. Paul's, UMS, or, you know, McGill Tulane? I can keep going down the list. All of these, Mobile Christian, who's a championship program, Gulf Shores now. All of these schools really close to each other, and it's a small move to decide where you're going to go. So you better build a brand. You better have great athletes wanting to be at your school, and that was probably thought of 30 years ago, but nowhere near to the level that it is now. You know, I wanted to, before we go on break, Gerald Wallace. I do a lot of social media posts for the AHSAA, and so I'm starting to get tagged by a lot of people that want us to share with. Man, I had a highlight reel.
That's what prompted me to say. I saw it
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw
that we reshared.
Yeah.
Oh, I never had the opportunity to watch him in high school. You know, I did get a buzz. I think when he was really young, we had a really good team here in Elliott City that played them, and a friend of mine scored 40+ in that game, and he scored 40+. I want to say Timmy was a senior, and he was maybe a freshman or a sophomore, and they had kind of had a really good. So I'd heard buzz back then, but man, to see his highlight tape is so much different than anybody else. I mean, to watch, you know, we've got an amazing athlete here in Elliott City right now, in Cedarian Morgan, who's a top 10 recruit in the country for the 2026 class. He'll be the #1 recruit here in the state of Alabama next year, and whoever the 6 are above him nationally, I got to see them before I believe it. But even as great as I see him out there on the basketball court, I'm thinking to myself, whatever highlight reel we're going to roll out there for Cedarian's not going to touch this thing I just saw for Gerald Wallace, because this freak was, I mean, he was jumping like 2 or 3 steps inside the free throw line, 16, 17 years old, putting on a show. It was something to see, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, and like my uncle was at Coosa during that time, and like that was a big rivalry. And I can remember going and almost like scared a little bit, like how loud the crowd was and how intense it was. And so like that, you put somebody like that who has the charisma and all of that. I mean, like, there's a lot of opportunities, and even with these highlight films, I think that there's an opportunity to monetize that if these kids figure out the right way. There's actually a lot of opportunities for that. So, recruits, holler at me, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll make something happen. But anyway, just
don't holler at me.
Actually,
don't call me. Y'all call Scott. He'll put it together for you. 256-234-6221. Take your calls on the other side.
With summer here, the kids out of school, and fun at the lake, illness or injury can strike at any time. Whether you're on vacation or just don't have time to go see your primary doctor, visit your friends and professionals at Ivy Creek Urgent Care, located at Highway 49 South, next to Stillwater's main entrance. With a rotation of 4 professional doctors and 3 nurse practitioners, they honor all walk-ins, get you in, properly treated, and out swift so you can be back to the summer fun fast. When you need urgent, see Ivy Creek Urgent Care, Daveville. No appointment needed.
The new owners of Stillwater's Country Club want to welcome you to play the area's premier course at Stillwater's with our new rate. Now, play for only $35 per 18 during the week and only $40 for the weekends. Stillwater's Golf is ready to give you the area's best golf experience, and many upgrades are coming, including a lighted range and course expansion. Meet the new staff and enjoy $35 per 18 Monday through Friday and $40 on the weekends. All at Stillwater's Country Club in Dadeville.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
The good guys at Alex City Marine are ready for your boating needs all summer. And now you can get up to $4,500 in rebates on our huge selection of new Landau Tritoons and sacrifice pricing on remaining 23 models. Alex City Marine also has a new fleet of rental boats for fabulous days on the water, whether it's service, new pontoon selections, or rental boats. See the pros the locals know. Alex City Marine on Cherokee Road in Alexander City, or online at alexcitymarine.com.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care, open 7 days a week. Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. Tony Sarah Ford has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Ford and pre-owned inventories in the state and the Sarah Promise. Right now, valued customers receive up to $4,000 on select 2023 F-150 trucks, plus 1.9% APR, or a new Bronco Sport for $393 a month, plus $750 bonus cash. Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Tony Sarah Ford in Sylacauga.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Got our good friend Brett Pritchard on the phone as we move into really the College Blitz portion of our program today. We started a little early, welcoming Luke Robinson in, who is doing a little locked-on broadcast starting here at 8. But we hope that if you're an Auburn fan, you'll hang in here with us and hear Brett Pritchard's opinion on the start of fall practices and a lot of buzz around Auburn now, Brett.
Yeah, there is. I think Auburn fans have a right to be excited. I mean, it's every time you come around to a new football season, no matter how bad you did last year, it just feels rejuvenated. You feel like it's a brand new slate, and you look at the schedule, and we've done that for a month now, and we've broken down every which way that Auburn could win 8 or 9 games, and we've about talked it to death. And at the end of the day, I do really genuinely think in Hugh Freeze's second year, Auburn fans have a reason to be excited. And, we can start with recruiting, but, fall camp's begun, couple practices under the belt. We can talk about the depth chart. I mean, when you look at this team, and Jason Caldwell talked about it, back in the spring, he said, don't know how good we're going to be, but I can tell you this, the roster looks totally different. And when you walk out on the practice field, it's a different-looking team. And the first thing Hugh Freeze said in his opening press conference is how proud he was of the players and the coaches and the strength training and the conditioning that went in the off-season. And you saw some pictures and video the last couple of days, and these guys do look different. I mean, we all know in the SEC, and we've talked about it, if you don't have the best players in the country, and when I mean the best players, look at Georgia and Alabama and what they've been able to put on the field the last several years. And if they don't look the part, man, you're not going to compete at the top of this league. And competing at the top of this league is competing at the top of the country. So you win the SEC most of the time. You're in the top echelon of the country in college football. But the freshmen have gotten all the buzz, and rightfully so. Peyton Thorne seems to be a really good start according to Hugh Freeze, and from the mental standpoint of him understanding and kind of being on the same page and picking things out in film study that he alluded to that gets him and Derek Nix and Hugh Freeze all on the same wavelength is huge, and he should be at this point in time in his career. But his targets are so much different. I mean, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Robert Lewis, Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, all of those guys have garnered praise here in the last few days from Hugh Freeze, but one that all of us are excited about that maybe garnered the most praise yesterday was Malcolm Simmons. And, I read some reports and talked to some guys that were at practice yesterday, and, unanimously they felt like he may have been the best receiver on the field yesterday. Now, I know that was one day, and, from day to day, guys are, up and down. But, he had some really good plays, caught several balls, had a really good play across the middle against Jaron Thompson where he beat him. And if everybody remembers, Jaron Thompson's going to come in and start at safety for Auburn, transfer from Texas. Really, really a good football player. And, Malcolm's a freshman. And he comes in and makes a play there. And then it was a one-on-one with Caleb Wooden. And, from all indications, Malcolm just ran over. To show him, showcase his physical ability. And a lot of people think he's more of a finesse, juke type guy, but he can be physical. Randy, you and I know that, Scott, and we've watched him do it. When he needs to be physical, he can. So this team and this roster, just from the youth and the athletic standpoint, I don't know how many wins Auburn will end up with, but I think this team's going to have a different demeanor. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Well, let's stick with that just briefly because, he's the guy that we've seen more than the others. And I know his personality. I know his work ethic. I know the way that he carries himself day in and day out. Here's what I'll say about Malcolm. If he stacks a couple of good days on top of one another, knowing how hard he's going to work and what kind of personality, I'm talking about a high-end personality, like shows up to practice, ready to practice, excited about playing football, none of that facial stuff where you're wondering, what are you getting from him from day to day? You're not going to get that here. My point is, if he has a couple of days like that in a row, watch out, because he'll change the dynamic of that conversation with that receiving room as quick as anybody you've ever seen, in my opinion, because of because not only of his athleticism, but the way that he carries himself.
And you know, you're exactly right. And if he earns a starting position or a lot of playing time, it's going to be because he earned it. You look at this room, and again, I know there's a lot of young guys in that room. There's also a lot of veterans and a lot of transfer portal guys that Auburn brought in, like Sam Jackson and, you know, Keandre Lambert-Smith and Robert Lewis. And those guys are going to play, man. And a lot of people are earned to selling Sam Jackson, and Jason Caldwell said on our show yesterday that he thinks Sam Jackson may be the best of all of them. And he thinks that Sam Jackson's going to play a lot, and he's going to be a major player on this team. But he doesn't get the you know, the notoriety because of all the star-studded guys that Auburn brought in this freshman class. But it'll all shake out. You know, those guys know the hype's hype, but then now that camp has started, it's going to be the guys that go out and perform day in and day out and that are more consistent that are going to get the majority of the snaps. And it's going to be a fight to get out there. I mean, there's 8 legit receivers that Auburn can run out there on the field this year to battle for playing time, and some of them are going to get left out. And, you know, how are they going to respond to that? What type of attitude are they going to take? And, you know, that's important. But Malcolm Simmons, I think, that's what drives him. I think he's probably the best team player that Auburn could have and ask for, just with his attitude and the way he handles things. But he knows that everybody mentions him fourth most of the time, and when they talk about the freeze four. And he wants to go out and show everybody that I need to be the one that everybody talks about first. And we know he's got the drive and the ability to do that and go out and prove that. So with a better offensive line, a more veteran offensive line, and one of the best running back rooms in the country, I think this offense is poised. If Peyton Thorne can come through, and Peyton Thorne doesn't have to be perfect now that he's got some better targets, but if he can be consistent and Auburn can stay on the field and move the football and sustain drives, I think this is going to be a fun offense to watch.
Brett, hang in there with us. Going to go ahead and take a break. We'll come back, a couple more questions on the other side for you.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Since 1908, many talented tradesmen and women have proudly represented the Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air name. We are grateful for their commitment to excellence, always providing our clients with quality work that we're glad to guarantee with 100% satisfaction. No matter the problem, the Dixie Electric team is here for you, serving the Montgomery and Auburn areas. Thank you for choosing a locally owned company.
For more information, go to calldixie.com.
Call Dixie and it's done.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Gorees Furniture.
Your express way to saving.
At Majestic Caverns, we believe in the power of unforgettable experiences. At a cool 60 degrees year-round, America's most historic caverns guarantees an enjoyable escape. But it doesn't stop there. With over 20 above-ground attractions, including 5 new ones this year, and our Cave Cafe, which offers delicious drinks and plenty of food options. And don't miss our exciting event, Libertas. On June 29th, July 6th, and July 13th, enjoy live entertainment and much more. At Majestic Caverns, your unforgettable adventure awaits.
Check out these great offers at Glenn Smith and Opelika.
At Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, you can own one of the best-selling vehicles in the USA, the GMC Sierra pickup. Right now, discounted up to $15,500 off. The roomy and comfortable compact SUV, the GMC Terrain, is up to $7,750 off.
Choose from over 400 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way to Glenn Smith and Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Couple more questions for you on the college front, Brett, and then we'll roll over, and I wanted to hit you up with a couple of high school things as we close out your segment here on the show today. Defensive line has been my big question mark for this Auburn team. I think that's where the X factor is. Can we make enough plays there and be physical enough there to do what it takes to win key SEC games, especially on the road? And your thoughts there, a lot of new names that we'll be talking about.
Yeah, I was on Gary Harris' show yesterday morning. I'm there every Friday at 10:30. I do the Auburn report for them, and that's what he asked me the weakest part, in my opinion, on this team, and I said defensive line, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be weak, but right now I think it's probably the most unknown. And when you look at it, Keldrick Faulk, Isaiah Rakes coming in as a transfer. Jason Jones, those seem to be maybe the starters right now along the front. But you got Philip Bleedy that came in from Indiana. I think has been really going to have an impact up front. Trill Carter that also transferred from Texas. You got some guys there that you can roll in and out, and we'll just have to see. I think you look at Falk, and you saw him attend media days for Auburn. I think Hugh Freeze is excited, not just about his physical ability. I think we all know he's an all-SEC type player. But his leadership at his age and really being a guy that really has bought into Auburn and really leading by example, not just by mouth. And so that's encouraging. And we knew when Hugh Freeze got him late in the recruiting cycle, in that first cycle, he said, these are the kind of players you got to have to win championships, and you and I know that. I mean, we saw him up close and personal. We know what kind of player he is, and at Highland Home, and I'm telling you, he's gonna make a lot of noise this year, I feel like. But I think Auburn has a chance to be really good at linebacker. I mean, we hadn't said that in a long time. Austin Keys healthy, Eugene Asante coming back off an outstanding year last year, and then Jalen McLeod. I think Jalen McLeod showed everybody that he could not only just play at Appalachian State, but he can play in the SEC, and he proved that last year. But Kerryon Crawford is a guy that I think is going to get a lot of playing time, and I think you're going to watch a couple of freshmen in DeMarcus Riddick and DJ Barber. I think they're going to get an opportunity to get on the field and improve what they can do. So another young freshman that I heard high praise about yesterday was Jamonta Waller. They feel like Jamonta Waller off the hoof is one of the better looking athletes on the entire team, and they said if he can grasp the concepts, that he will definitely be in the rotation up front. So it's encouraging. Just a lot of untapped, unknown factors right now on the defensive side, guys. And in the secondary, I think again you got Sylvester Smith, who's been receiving a lot of praise from Munford High School. I mean, he thinks he's going to start at free safety, and I think Jaron Thompson is a sure-in start back there in the secondary, and I think Keontae Scott brings a lot of experience and talent back there. So I don't think the secondary is going to be as bad as people thought it could be. I think there's a lot of talent back there, but we'll just have to wait and see kind of how it all plays out.
Well, the issue with all of this is so many productive players, whether it was great production, no matter what it is, but a lot of production leaving. And so all the guys that we're buying into are, new names that we haven't talked a lot about. So it doesn't mean that you're not upgrading what you're doing there. We're hopeful that this coaching staff is, but most of those names you bring up, Brett, are not ones that we talked about just last year. So take that with what you've got. Now, on the offensive side, we're kind of glad that we're not talking about some of those guys. So hopefully we're saying the same thing defensively. Before we let you go, Brett, let's talk a little high school football. It's not far away. We're excited about it. Tough couple of first games, though, for Benjamin Russell. This will be your 25th year to be the broadcaster. By the way, congratulations there. Not many make it to broadcast one school as long as you have. You've had a great run. We've had some great teams during that stretch, some state championship teams during that stretch. But quickly, your thoughts, Opelika week 1 and a very good Central Clay team that we'll match up with as well. It won't be an easy go to begin with, will it?
Well, it's not going to take long to find out what you're made of. I mean, that's really the short of it. I mean, you open up with a very, very good Opelika team and that plays in the toughest region in the state, in my opinion, year in and year out. Maybe the Birmingham region rivals that, but I'd put this region up against that region any day of the week. What they're able to do with Phoenix City, Auburn, and Enterprise and those type teams, they're gonna be big up front. I mean, they're gonna be physical. It's gonna be a trenches game. I think we can match them in a lot of areas, skill position wise, but can we match up well enough up front to play with Opelika? We'll see. And then you go to Clay Central, and we all know what that game's going to be. I mean, we've seen them enough. Look, we've seen Coach Horn have 2 sons that he coached. And if he threw the ball more than 12 times in a game with his son's quarterback, it was a sight to behold. So he's not going to throw the football. You know what he's going to do. They're going to pick and choose their time to throw it. They will throw it enough to keep you honest, but they want to grind it out on the ground, and they want to pound you, and they want to wear you down, and they're going to see if you're up to their standard as far as physical nature up front. And if you're not, you're going to lose. And we see that. And we've beaten them as much as they've beaten us over the last 7 or 8 years. It's become a really good rivalry. It usually comes down to a few plays here and there, and that's what you want in a good high school football rivalry. So, yeah, you open up with 2 outstanding programs, and they know we're a good program too, and they know what we're gonna bring. So, makes for good high school football. But before we go, guys, I just did want to say that Big Cat weekend last weekend for Auburn was phenomenal. We know that. I won't go through all the recruits. But Jared Smith set tonight or this afternoon at 5 p.m. to announce his commitment. That's another big Thompson High School guy, the number 2 player in the 25 class, the edge rusher. And by all indications, looks like he's going to announce that he'll be coming to Auburn. So that would be 8 out of the 10 in the state. And, look, I heard a little bit of what Luke said, and I agree with it. Things have definitely changed. But for Auburn to be good, no matter what in this world of transfer or not, Auburn's got to get their fair share every year in the state of Alabama and the state of Georgia. Historically, when Auburn does well in Alabama and Georgia, they put good teams on the field.
Going to be a need, and it's been a need that's met the first couple of years for Hugh Freeze and his staff, and we're excited to tune in tonight and looking forward to a busy August, and look forward to being with you here in a couple of weeks, Brett. Thanks for the phone call, buddy.
All right, guys.
Go ahead and take another break. When we come back, got about another 45 minutes left here on the program.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SEC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
Are you ready to save big on a new Chevrolet?
Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet for the Chevy Summer Drive. Choose America's #1 compact SUV, the Chevy Equinox, discounted up to $6,000 off. Or powerful full-size Chevy Silverados for up to $14,750 off. And fuel-efficient Chevy Malibus up to $5,750 off. Make your way to Glenn Smith Chevrolet.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Brett mentioned, and we'll talk about it here, state of Alabama, Hugh Freeze really putting on a show right now of going out and shoring up those borders and picking up some key recruits in some need positions especially too. So Auburn needs to be able to go, and Brett makes a good point. Our bordering states and here in the state of Alabama, until we become a brand nationally that is expected to compete for championships, we got to be able to shore up the ones that are around us that knows how good this program can be when we're going good. And right now, you said it during the break, it just has a feel about it that something's being built over there that maybe from a recruiting standpoint we've never had before.
Yeah, and, you know, I hope nobody takes this wrong way, what I'm saying, especially Alabama fans. So I'm not comparing it to that, but it feels like the early Saban years where the first year, you know, you have the ULM laws, we have the New Mexico State laws with Auburn last year, but from a recruiting perspective, he still brought in a top 2 or 3 class coming into that 2008 season. So I'm not saying that Auburn's going to win 10 games and go to an SEC championship, but Brett said it, if you don't have the players – and Andy will say it all the time, you know, it's the players. Like, if you don't have those, that's the first step in anything. So I don't care how good a coach you are. If you don't have the talent, it doesn't matter. But I feel like Auburn is building something momentum-wise that we haven't felt in a while. And, again, it goes back to the type of players that Hugh Freeze is bringing in. And, you know, I've sat on this show for 10, 15 years and talked about, you know, Auburn just, you know, we're an 8-4 team. Like, historically, at least since I've been alive, that's basically what you've been, somewhere between 7 and 9 wins. I think Hugh Freeze has an opportunity to take what our expectations are and turn that into a standard. I think that's where Auburn has really suffered, is that Auburn fans have an expectation of winning but haven't done enough to create a standard of winning, and that's what has separated Auburn from Alabama, Georgia, LSU, those schools that have continuously been there. So flash in the pan isn't going to build the program, and now those flash in the pans are fantastic as a fan. 10 and 13 and even 17, you know, that was a fun ride, but from a standard of excellence, Auburn should go into the season saying 9 really should be the minimum amount of wins that Auburn should be going for. 10 obviously is what they should be going for, double-digit wins. But I think that Auburn's mindset and as a fan base and from an athletic department, everything, Bruce Pearl did it. He changed the standard for Auburn basketball, and I think Hugh Freeze has an opportunity to do the same.
Well, if you're going to sell a quarterback to be a key piece to come into Auburn and be an All-American, multi-year All-American, you got to go out and get some guys that he can throw to and an offensive line that can give him a little bit of time. And, you know, Bo Nix became an All-American. Bo Nix, outside of a couple of poor drives in that conference championship game, wins a Heisman Trophy for Oregon. And so we had and he's from right here in the state of Alabama, back to that conversation. He's a legacy for Auburn. So, you know, we had that piece, but we didn't have the other pieces around him. And now I think the thing that Hugh Freeze is doing, maybe better than some previous staffs, is he's gone out and got the pieces around him. Now, we hoping Peyton Thorne has a great year, but even if it's, you know, average to slightly above average with the pieces on the outside, they can make him look much better than we saw last year. So, Scott, I think the big move moving forward is, can you go and get that guy? And there's a lot of buzz around the Notre Dame commit. Can you also go in the transfer portal and pick up a guy there that can come in and make a splash? Whoever it is, it's a lot easier to sell them to that set of receivers that we have this year compared to what we had last year.
Yeah, and, you know, these guys, if you're a top-tier recruit, 4- or 5-star guy, they're all going to the same visits. They're all going to the same people. So if you're somebody that's a freshman at Auburn now and, you know, there's a senior that's coming along or junior coming along, they play with these guys. They've been on, like I said, they've come to these visits. So you build relationships with these guys. And I think that if Auburn has the production offensively that we think they're going to have, watch out. I think that from a recruiting standpoint, some of these fringe guys that we think that we're on and we may have some interest with Auburn, I think it changes the dynamic of everything when they see the type of production that you could see, because that wide receiver room has the potential. It's all forecasting at this point. But if they're able to stick together, could be one of the best we've seen in the SEC.
Well, Hugh Freeze has seen some good ones. And when I see a comment come out from him after the first practice, and all of us saw Perry Thompson. We've seen him before, but he looks different. And this is what Hugh Freeze says on on Thompson. He said, "I'm thrilled. That's what an SEC receiver should look like. That's what you should recruit." And he's exactly right. That guy doesn't look normal. I mean, that guy in pads looks like a senior that's been in a college weight room for a long time. I said that to you about the one that we're going to watch this year in high school. You know, there are just some guys that you go, I don't care. He needs to work out. I'm sure he needs to get stronger, but he already looks the part. I mean, I had to talk with a couple of friends of mine over in Auburn this week about Sidarian. I said, come see him. I've known it since I've told anybody willing to hear that he's going to be the biggest recruit that Benjamin Russell's ever had since he was in 7th grade. Just by watching him walk in a gym and know that he's a head taller than me in 7th and 8th grade. Not normal. Perry Thompson's got that. He's got that it factor from a size and athleticism standpoint too, doesn't he?
Yeah, and, you know, we talk about that often, about just the look of guys. And some people you can look at and say, all right, you know that they at least look like they could do something. And that receiver room, especially, like, if you look at Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson, they just looked like what Julio looked like, kind of like just the
Cam Coleman, like Julio was right when I saw him in the spring, I said, man, that is what Julio looked. Nobody wants to compare somebody to who could have been or was one of the top receivers to ever play the game in the NFL. But from an athleticism standpoint, from a look standpoint, that's exactly who he looked like to me, Scott.
And, I mean, it's just – not that we haven't gotten guys, because we've got some good, decent receivers over the years. But, I mean, like, you're thinking about it, like, who would you say? Like, Darvin Adams, Sammy Coates, who did we just have? Slayton was all right. But, I mean, like, none of them really look – Sam Coates kind of –
He was probably the closest one.
Yeah. But, like,
Seth Williams.
Seth Williams, that's what I was thinking about, too. So, like, and, you know, you had, like, Duke and all those, but like really just when you're looking at these pictures of these practice reports, man, they look like
we haven't had guys.
Yeah, and like it just changes your perception of things as a fan, because it matters. I mean, you got to be able to catch the ball and run, do all those things. But if you looked at that receiver room the last 5 years compared to what we have now,
no comparison.
You feel differently. And as a quarterback, that has to help your confidence level. Now, Peyton Thorne made some mistakes last year that were definitely on him. But when you know you have a guy or guys that you can throw it to.
Throw up and make a play.
Yeah, it's like, all right. That changes things. So now those 50-50 balls now become 90-10 balls, and that's a whole different ball game.
Up against another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Alex City and west side of the lake. It's time to celebrate because the all-new Lake Martin Pizza is open with the area's best pizza, and it's just down Highway 63 South in our town. Lake Martin Pizza of Highway 63 has a huge outdoor seating area with enclosed heated comfort, a full bar with cold beer, wine, and full spirit selection with family ownership and fun for the whole family. Dine in or pick up. It's just a short drive to our town and is hands down the area's best pizza. Like us on Facebook to see upcoming live entertainment and watch sports on our 360 wraparound TVs. Rejoice! Lake Martin Pizza on Highway 63 is ready for you.
Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is coming soon to the corner of 280 and 49 North in Daytonville. This new 10,000 square foot facility is conveniently located to serve the residents of the Lake Martin area and its many communities. A branch of Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory in Opelika, Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation looks forward to serving your families and your communities, as we have since 1900 at Frederick Dean. 256-750-0381.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All in an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Just about 30 minutes left here in the program. Scott, how much of the Olympics have you been watching?
I've actually watched a pretty good amount.
I have too. Yeah.
Last night, I watched a lot of the swimming, and we talked about that a couple. I guess
track and field just getting started.
Yeah,
I love the track and field. There are always, storylines that I don't know because I don't keep up with it, but. Yeah, I love the way the Olympics build in storylines around these athletes. Gymnastics, we just went through a week of gymnastics. Suni Lee and Simone Biles. Have you watched the Simone Biles documentary?
I did watch it. So the twisties,
great?
that's what we were trying to think of last week when you were talking about it. So yeah, that really was just eye-opening. The amount of pressure that that these athletes are under and how that can take a mental strain on you. But she gets gold again. Suni Lee gets bronze, as you said. So overall with the gold too. So team wins. So I think that they have reaffirmed what we always have thought. But from a gymnastics standpoint, the U.S. is the top.
Well, Simone Biles now potentially on the Mount Rushmore of athletes all time. You got Serena Williams. Keep going down the list. Tom Brady, maybe you can name a couple others on the football side that you want to throw on there. Baseball, you got Babe Ruth and Willie Mays and some others. But Simone Biles, overall athletically, Bo Jackson can be thrown in that mix. But for all of you out there, we have just witnessed the greatest gymnast of all time. And it's not only she – I was saying this to my wife. I was saying, Suni Lee, the impressive part of her is how confident she seems out there. It's not her great athleticism. And Ginger said, you telling me that Suni Lee's not a great athlete? I said, I don't mean it that way. What I mean is Simone Biles, when I watch her, she's amazing to watch. Like the flips and her ability on the floor routine to get 12 and a half feet up in the air and do tricks that others aren't even willing to try. It's not just cleanliness that she is winning gymnastics. It's overall athleticism and just wow factor when it comes in to what you see from her. Whereas Suni Lee, it's when I'm watching her, I'm like, she's not going to mess up. Like she's got this confidence level about her that she's not going to mess up. She needs a 13.6 to win this bronze, and you can see her talking to herself before she goes out there. And I'm not worried. I'm not sitting over here. I can't watch the screen when she's out because she's carrying herself like she thinks that she can. So, but back to Simone Biles. I mean, who do you put up there from a women's athletic standpoint? She's now in the conversation moving forward.
Women's athletics for sure. It's probably her and Serena. Serena's probably one. It's tough, but 1, 2, however you would want to do that. I can't remember who came out with it earlier this week or maybe last week with the top 20 athletes, or it was maybe the top 100, but I saw top 20 athletes since 2000, and Michael Phelps was number 1.
Yeah.
So
I believe, yeah.
And then Serena was number 2, and so I'm thinking, I was like, probably like a Mount Rushmore. It's hard not to say somebody like Michael Phelps, Serena, Simone, and then you could probably it gets tough there where you could go a lot of different directions there. But it's been a lot of fun to see, and it kind of took us away from a lot of the other distractions
that we have to deal with on everything else that you and I talked a lot about this past. Basketball. Are we playing well enough? I mean, is Canada here's I heard this yesterday, and I know we're up against a break, but if you took this Olympics basketball squad for the U.S., it would be the greatest NBA team of all time. Mm-hmm. They would win 75 to 80 games. That's how talented they are. Whereas I'm supposed to buy in that Canada is a good alternative. And if you took this current Canadian team, they'd be the 15th to 20th best NBA team this year. So that's how much pressure is on this NBA squad to perform. Mm-hmm. Because they are that much better than any other team that they're going to match up with unless they have multiple LeBron 3 for 15 type outings that keeps teams in them. And he hasn't played that way in these, don't get me wrong. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, this is you're not comparing apples to apples when you throw that NBA squad that's in the Olympics out there.
No, I've always thought basketball has been the one sport where – going in, you have to assume every Olympics they're going to be the top team. And what's been the best part of this is that we've consistently, like in the media and fans, have consistently tried to kind of devalue or maybe knock LeBron down a peg. Kevin Durant, too, for that matter. Mm-hmm. And those have probably been
still the best two players.
Yeah. Like that's been the fun thing. Like LeBron in those last 2 or 3 minutes, he doesn't look 40. I put it that way.
No, he's starting to even those of my generation have got to really take a look at what he's doing at 40 and think about what Michael looked like at 40 and go, yeah, I'll concede here. Because you do have to take into consideration. I've always said that about Walter Payton in football. You can throw anybody else you want out there. Walter Payton didn't miss games. He never was injured. You could count on him. He was going to take more carries than anybody else, but he withstood all of that without missing seasons and missing games. And you have to take that into consideration. And your ability to play at that age and not lose a step and not lose, scoring ability and everything else is a wow factor for me for LeBron. He's as good as we've ever seen. We better enjoy it the few more years that we've got here, because we said that about Tom Brady. Can he play to 50? Well, then it really does. It hits a year where you go, I can't do this anymore and do it to the level. And we've probably only got a couple more years. We're going to say that about LeBron. Another break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
The new owners of Stillwater's Country Club want to welcome you to play the area's premier course at Stillwater's with our new rate. Now, play for only $35 per 18 during the week and only $40 for the weekend. Stillwater's Golf is ready to give you the area's best golf experience, and many upgrades are coming, including a lighted range and course expansion. Meet the new staff and enjoy $35 per 18 Monday through Friday and $40 on the weekends. All at Stillwater's Country Club in Dadeville.
At Team One Hyundai, it's the Summer Savings Sales Event. All new Hyundais will be sold at employee pricing, plus an unheard of $1,000 bonus for your trade-in. See our huge selection of new and pre-owned inventory at team1hyundai.com. Don't miss the summer savings with employee pricing, plus a $1,000 bonus for your trade. Team One Hyundai of Gadsden, where the experience exceeds your expectations.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Thunderbolt Lightfoot at Oscar's Cafe on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, Alabama is looking to see you today. Now, let me tell you, they got great food. They've always had great food all these years. Now, they still got that atmosphere. They still got that service. They still cater. Let me stop right there. 15 to 415 they can handle. So give them a call today at Oscar's, Highway 49 South in Dadeville. 256-825-4827.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
Announcing Camping World's Inflation Buster camping program. You can now get into a new RV starting at just $98 a month. We won't let the economy steal your camping season. Take advantage of this very limited time offer and lock in your low monthly payment today.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Just talking a little bit about the Olympics that are currently going on. You know, it's a wild to look down and to think that supposedly amateur athletics and the payouts that come out. Somebody getting rich on these Olympic Games, because I would think the ratings are through the roof. It's a perfect time for it to be going on. Eyeballs glued into it. And you know, I didn't like the opening ceremony, but I'd be danged if I'm not going to watch all these athletes perform just because I disagreed with what they threw out there on a couple of things like that. So a couple more weeks to close things out there, Scott, and I'm hoping that there's a few more gold medals. And when you got track and field coming, got a lot of chances for gold medals when you're talking about the U.S.
Yeah, and just seeing some of that, and these, like, Shakari Richardson was phenomenal. But I love watching, just when you have the 100, like 400 too, but just any of that when you're just running like that, to me, like that seems like the most athletic thing.
I think being around, and I've never grew up as a track guy. We didn't have a very good track program here. I hope we do. I really think that, by the way, I think that's a demographic that right now I know Elliott City, I know Opelika. Opelika's always had a great track program because they embraced it. They were kind of, forced to embrace it many moons ago. And then they went and got a great coach that's kind of over the Speed Academy there in Auburn. And so I think Opelika's going to. But the 400 to me is the toughest, the best representation of athleticism. Because you've got to have enough endurance, but you've also got to have great speed to be a great 400 meter. You bring that up. 100 meters wow factor. I mean, that is, but you'll see 100 meter guys that on that back leg of that 400, they're not going to be able to carry that through. So I've always thought the best athlete is the best 400 guy to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot. Obviously, as you said, you need to have the endurance, but from a speed factor, knowing when to kick it in or like knowing, all right, because you see it a lot of times, that last leg, you may be 2 or 3 people back and then they get past whoever's in first, and so it's exciting. It's like watching a horse race and not comparing them to that, but like it's very similar to that. So a lot of strategy involved. It's not just running, and that's what I was really trying to get to is like I think they're the most athletic because I think running is like one of fair gauge to tell how athletic somebody is, but like there's a lot of strategy involved in this, and you got to think too. You practice for 4 years for 10 or 12, 10 to 12 seconds of your life. Like that's intense.
It's the reason I love the storylines around it, and I think the Olympics has always probably done it better than anybody else on the broadcast to get you bought into what's going on, because I don't know Richardson and I don't know some of these guys because I don't keep up with track and field year in and year out, but I want to support them and I want to get behind what they're doing, but I need to know some background info on who it is and the storylines, and that's the reason that I think so many people have gravitated to Simone Biles is that great documentary to see. I mean, she got the yips. I mean, really struggled with, getting in the air and just kind of blanking and how much of an injury potential that could be if you were to do that. And anybody that watches that sport could kind of tell that. But back, and I know we're up against a break, but, we got a brand new school being built here in Elliott City. And one of the things I'm probably as excited about as any part of that is that new track. We're going to have a sectional sanctioned track that you can hold sectionals. And, I hope that we lean into that a little bit. Go get the right coach, put the right coach in place, build some infrastructure underneath or culture underneath where you can, because there's no part of me that doesn't think that it doesn't help every other sport. Every other sport's helped if you can run distance run tracks. And again, we've got great enough athletes around here that if they were, to get the training. I mean, think about Malcolm. I'm not knocking any of the coaches that he's had, but Malcolm's such an amazing athlete that he was able to go out there and break Orlando Waters' long jump record that was set in 1990 at Anniston High School. All of this while playing basketball and all of this while doing a number of other things, and then he barely missed out. I think he barely clipped breaking the state record for the high jump. And where's he practicing that in Elliott City? If you can take me to a track around here that can show me all of that nice setup that gives him the chance to do that, I want to see it. I've been here my whole life. I don't know where the heck he's jumping and training for that. But we're about to have that option, and I think that that's something that a lot of you, and I think you were probably heavily involved in that, but getting that there too. Up against our last break here of the show.
"76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old, and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care open 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started. Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Got a couple more minutes left here on the program. Scott, we head into August. So many storylines that we'll be talking about leading in to our high school broadcast coming up on August the 23rd. That will be a fun time. We got the Kickoff Classic that will also start that week, and we'll be over from Media Days in Montgomery coming up in the next couple of weeks to talk about that Kickoff Classic and a lot of other things that are going on topic-wise. And there are no right answers for a lot of this. It kind of goes back to our lottery talk over the last 15 years of you and I doing the program. I got my opinion. You got your opinion. Sometimes we agree with each other. A lot of times we'll say something and others will disagree with us out there. So, again, there's no right answers for a lot of this. But with NIL and with players transferring around and with them doing it late in the process, it's just a different day and age to be a sports fan in general. And you either learn how to deal with it or you don't, or you get run by with. So, I'm proud of communities like ours here. And you go right over on the Lee County side with all of the enhancements that's going on at Opelika. Your wife was in that school system, I know, now currently in this school system. She's been in two that have embraced. We better keep up with the Joneses out there. But you better right now, or you're going to get run by in the world of high school sports right now.
Yeah, and again, there is the side of it that's like, don't take my high school sports away from me. I think we've accepted what's happened with college, but keeping it as pure as possible is the goal, obviously. But as with anything, it's about money and funding and all those things. And so if there's opportunities for kids to monetize or go to a different school to get some different exposure, I'm all for that. But just if we could keep it as pure as possible, because there's nothing like high school football on a Friday night, like from a unification standpoint, from a revenue standpoint, from a community exposure and pride standpoint, all of those things. Like, there is nothing better than being on the lights on Friday night. And so I don't want us to do anything that damages that. But I understand that it is a business, regardless if that's how we want to think about it or not. But this time of year is my favorite as you get ready to head into it. But, you know, it just seemed like it just ended a few months ago, which it did. But, I mean, we're back at it. And obviously I know I can speak for the entire group, like, covering this is our favorite thing to do.
It definitely is. And if you can add Auburn and Alabama and some of our kids, you know, either being on the squad like we've got currently at Auburn, and you'll hear us talk about Malcolm, and if he does some great things, buddy, we're going to talk about him more than you may as well go ahead and brace for it. But the same with Alabama. I mean, it's always helpful when you got kids that you've watched grow up in your system, go on and hopefully do great things. And I keep saying it right now. You can make negative talk around NIL. You make negative talk on the way that this is becoming more of a business than it's ever been. But if you're the lucky one out there to have the golden ticket, embrace that sucker and use that leverage and get everything that you can out of it, because I promise you, back to my Olympic statement, there's a lot of people, including these television networks, getting rich off these Olympics. And it's not the athletes getting rich off the Olympics. So take advantage of it when you get the opportunity, and we'll be there to cover it. We're looking forward to it. So we're up against the close of the program. I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. For Scott Hardy, I'm Randy Lee saying thanks for tuning into the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor wants you to know the only thing hotter than the summer on the lake is the hot incentives with all Mahindra tractors and farm implements and tough Spartan mowers. Right now, get the year's hottest deals on Mahindra with financing up to 84 months or 0%. Speaking of zero, see the huge selection of zero-turn Spartan mowers with 0% interest, financing up to 60 months. See the lake's authorized Mahindra and Spartan dealer, Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor, for deals that sizzle all season long.
Summertime is a special time. Time on the water, time away from work, and more time with family and friends. Make sure your heart is ready for the season with an appointment at the UAB Heart and Vascular Clinic at Russell Medical. I'm Dr. Kevin Sublett, and our entire clinic is dedicated to keeping your heart healthy. We're right here in your own community and backed by the knowledge and expertise of UAB Medicine. Make an appointment today by calling 256-234-2644 or visit uabmedicine.org/heartrussell.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. And Sarah Honda has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Honda and pre-owned inventories in the state, and the Sarah Promise. Our best deal when you buy or trade, a 72-hour exchange policy, a no-hassle trade-in promise. Written offers are good for 7 days. And our best service promise. Our factory-certified technicians help keep your vehicle running smoothly. That's why Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Sarah Honda in Sylacauga.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
With summer here, the kids out of school, and fun at the lake, illness or injury can strike at any time. Whether you're on vacation or just don't have time to go see your primary doctor, visit your friends and professionals at Ivy Creek Urgent Care, located at Highway 49 South, next to Stillwater's main entrance. With a rotation of 4 professional doctors and 3 nurse practitioners, they honor all walk-ins, get you in, properly treated, and out swift so you can be back to the summer fun fast. When you need urgent, see Ivy Creek Urgent Care, Dadeville. No appointment needed.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor wants you to know the only thing hotter than the summer on the lake is the hot incentives with all Mahindra tractors and farm implements and tough Spartan mowers. Right now, get the year's hottest deals on Mahindra with financing up to 84 months or 0%. Speaking of zero, see the huge selection of zero-turn Spartan mowers with 0% interest, financing up to 60 months. See the Lake's authorized Mahindra and Spartan dealer, Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor, for deals that sizzle all season long.